Welcome to Mastering Success, the podcast where we dive deep into the mindset, the strategies, and the habits of high achievers. I'm your host, Jeremy Sanford, keynote speaker and business growth consultant, and I am literally on a mission to help people to unlock their full potential. And so each podcast, we bring you powerful conversations with experts, leaders, and game changers who have mastered success in their respective fields. Our last episode on Mastering Success, we featured a certified heavyweight in business, finance, and leadership. His name is Cassius Butts. Go check out that episode. He was a former SBA regional administrator, a two-time presidential appointee, and a leader who has overseen billions in fundings in small businesses. And so if the last episode taught us anything, it taught us that success is strategic, it is intentional, and built with the right guidance. But today, on Mastering Success, I want to introduce to you a man who doesn't just speak about transformation, he literally is transformation. Demetrius Short is the founder and the CEO of Transformation Life Center and a world-class keynote speaker. Someone who literally electrified the room and tore the stage up at the 10X Success Summit, not just with hype, but with truth, purpose, and lived experience. He's a mentor's mentor, a leader's leader, and a friend to many. He's a voice that resonates with young and seasoned and everyone in between. Wherever Demetrius goes, people don't just listen, they literally rise. He's deeply committed to mentorship, passionate about helping the next generation to win, and relentless about turning pain into purpose and setbacks into stepping stones. This man whose presence shifts rooms, whose story fuels belief, and whose mission changes lives. Mastering Success family, help me welcome someone who is changing the game. Some call him Demetrius. We call him Mr. Don't Fall Short. How are you this morning?
Man, I am absolutely fabulous, man, and honored to be here with you, leaders, and your amazing audience and guests. I'm truly humbled for you allowing me this space and time with you.
Yes, it is. I'm excited. I believe that we're going to get some great gems on today, some great principles. I'm a big advocate that success leaves clues. And what we try to do on this podcast is learn from people that have been successful in their respective industries, because the principles that they use, we can use them to get similar results. Let's start it off right here. You are big on mentorship. You're big on helping young people and people that are coming up to achieve. Why is mentorship so important to you personally?
Man, for me, it's, when I look back at my childhood and look at, me being called kind of the old man as a young person, I surrounded myself early on in life with people who I wanted to shadow and model. They left, again, the breadcrumbs to success, and I was hungry for that. I stood out. I was allowed in rooms as a 9-year old, 10-year old. I have two older brothers, 2 years and 4 years ahead of me, and I could hold my weight in that audience. And I attribute that solely to my my ability to be coached early on. People want to get and rise to success early on, and they feel that they have to do it all by themselves. I learned that my motto is with mentoring and coaching is that, you don't always have to be the trailblazer. Yeah, trailblazing is good. It sounds good. I was the first. I was this. I was that. But one of the lessons I learned was that, man, you know what? God has already empowered some people to do some things, some amazing things. And if I just learned and was surrendered to being coachable, I could get to where I am quicker and pave my own pathway. So mentoring and coaching is key for us to always use the two ears that God gave us and the one mouth to be able to listen and learn from others who will share their transparent story about their failures and also their successes. I always say with this generation is a little difficult. I have a 21-year-old at home, and I tell her, if I told you they're shooting on Third Street, this generation will come back to me the next day and say, "Man, I'm like, why are you limping? I got shot on what street? Third Street." Didn't I tell you? Because we're curious, and curiosity always sometimes overshadows just common sense. So to be able to learn from a parent or an individual who said, hey, I did this wrong, uh, I don't want you to do that. Find your own pitfalls, create your own narratives, but here's what got me to success, but here is also what hindered that. That's powerful for allowing individuals to really overcome and speed up the trajectory of their success, because we learn to sit at the feet of other leaders and glean from their successes and apply to our own lives. So it's imperative that individuals are successful. When you look at, successful people, all of them have individuals in their life. Warren Buffett, why would Warren Buffett, have someone he can call and say, hey, I want to just throw this idea by you. Not trying to, don't want you to crush my dream, but I need another voice. What do you think about this? Because one mistake, one bad investment can cost you everything. Leveraging with someone is always a great idea, to have someone in your corner to listen and help you throw thoughts and ideas off of.
Yeah, I think it's so important. And I think that at every stage of our life, it's important for us to have mentorship. I know that sometimes we feel like it only applies to young people, but you even mentioned Warren
Mhm.
Buffett, one of the top investors of all time,
There you go.
still has a mentor. So, how can you speak to those that maybe, past what we consider young, having mentorship? Do you still consider that to be important?
Yes, indeed. We should never, 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 ever graduate from any season of learning. Learning is a continued trait. It should be embraced no matter what goal you reach. You ought to continue to have in your personal mission statement, I am committed to continued learning and continued education, because the world is changing. We've got AI now. I'm 35 plus years in software testing. It's a different world.
Right.
And I was reminded the other day that when I walked in to IBM, my dream job in 1999, fresh out of college, me and four other blacks walked into IBM. We were like hitting figures, right? We walked into these
Mhm.
spaces as new hires. And I look back today, I just turned 52. And I was
Wow.
reminded, as intimidating as those individuals were when you walked in at 24, you now have people and you're walking into that season now. So I am going through soft skills and I'm updating and upskilling myself at 52 and 35 plus years in. People are saying, oh, you ain't have to do that, man. We've got to always stay relevant, always stay fresh, because now I know what it's like to get up and go to work and my boss say, hey, we got a new college hire. Now I can see how intimidated some of those individuals were when I walked into the room full of energy and the threat of, are they going to take my job? Are my skills up to date? So, not even just in that sense, we all ought to never have a ceiling to education and learning and enhancing everything that we can do to make ourselves better. Our world needs leaders, current and future, to always embrace the opportunity to continue education and learning. It makes yourself and ultimately the world and our future leaders better.
So true. So true. So your story is so unique. I love the story about you walking 3.1 miles to get an internship. Tell us about that story. And when we look back at that story, what was in your heart and your mind during that time that made you do something like that?
Yeah, part of my brand is of Mr. Don't Fall Short and my resilience. It starts with, me, three-sport scholar athlete, Cincinnati, Ohio, 3.6 GPA, homecoming king, star quarterback, shortstop, basketball, pretty decent point guard, but I was good academically and athletically. So out of the six children, my parents looked at the middle child, me, and said, well, Demetrius got it. He can either go with his brain or with his body, or a combination of both, and get that degree and go to school and be able to not have to pay for school because he's smart and athletic. Well, that didn't happen. God had another pathway for me, and I ended up at Fisk University, the most amazing HBCU. I'll throw that plug in there, in Nashville, Tennessee. But I didn't have a car, didn't have a scholarship. But I had I had knowledge. I had a lot of different things from being a product of inroads and going to different type of learning academies all through high school. Wore alligator skin shoes, started wearing suits in the fifth grade. Wanted to be like my dad, again, an old soul. And I arrived at Fisk with no transportation and no scholarship, $100,000 degree that I was pursuing to be the first in my family to graduate from college. That was the mission, be the first, set the precedence for my family and go from there. Well, I had to walk from Fisk to my internships, always kept a good job. HCA, Caterpillar Financial, Fortune 500 companies, but I didn't have transportation. So I would walk. And I would walk this route. The conversation with my dad, getting a car didn't go so well. You're a freshman, you don't need a car, get on campus and do good, focus. But I found myself with a 1.8 GPA,
Wow.
academic probation, and the shame of being the pride of Cincinnati and coming home and everyone saying, that's our hero. Demetrius is going to do great things. And here I am about to be kicked off this prestigious campus because I did not have the money to be able to pay my way through school. So I would just walk from Fisk to HCA, the Caterpillar Financial, over 3 miles one way, two, three, four times a day to pay myself through school. I was sleeping on the couch of a friend in the dorm director's office. Jeremy, nobody knew. My parents didn't know. The teachers didn't know. I fake smiled myself because, right, I got on $500 alligator skin shoes. I got that navy blue suit on. He's smiling every day. And little did they know, I was going through the most trying time of my life. And I just walked. I did not refuse to get to my jobs. Uh, Getting to a job full of sweat. Nashville, it's hot. You talking about walking in a suit and gaiters and a briefcase 3, 4 miles twice a day. That's 6 miles a day of walking. But God had another purpose and plan for my life that I did not understand at that moment. I had pain, I had frustration, I had discouragement. But every day I put on that suit, every day I walked through the hood. I would never walk through the main streets. There's a street called Broadway, which is the easiest route to my jobs. But the shame didn't let me. I didn't want nobody to say, why is the preacher's kid walking? I avoided that. I was depressed. I was just going through this. I'm crying every day. God, why in the world am I in this situation? Why can't I get out of this? But I kept moving. I refused to be one thing, a statistic. I vowed to not have my name in the millions of college dropouts. And that's what kept my feet moving and those prayers going each and every day. And I was a 7 year senior. I went to school 2.5 years, not even registered. And my teachers kept my grades on the side of the syllabus. And here I am today as a leader with this story that can bless people to never give up on your dreams. Just keep moving and keep walking. That's the story
Man,
of why I
that's
walk.
that's so powerful, and I pray that this message affects people across the world because it is so needed in this day and time. When we look at your level of resilience, here's a question that came to my mind. There was a billionaire that mentioned, and I want to see if you agree or disagree with this. He mentioned that hunger can't be created. Certain levels of hunger can't be created. There are
Mhm.
certain people that their life created hunger, their
Mm.
experience created a relentless drive. In your opinion, can hunger be created? And then the second part of that question is, when a person is already hungry, how do they stop themselves from getting too relaxed and achieving, even more?
I would not be on this podcast today if what I had to endure was removed.
Mhm.
I truly believe I would be successful in something. I don't know what that something is. Of course, I want to play for the Yankees. I was pretty good baseball player. You were a pretty good basketball player, right? We
Yeah.
all, right, as black young men. I'm gonna make it to the league. I'm gonna do this. So I had those goals. But man, I always say that pain has a purpose and a way to bring hunger out of you like never before. I'm so strong and so impactful as a college success expert because I know what it feels like to not have food.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to walk into that financial aid office and they put the meanest, they put some universities put the meanest aunties. You sitting there crying, I want to be something. They look at you and say, Mr. Short, I need $7,000 or you can get out of this. I'm like, Lord, where's the empathy at?
Where's the mercy at?
Where's the mercy? And they said that I done heard that. I done been through this over and over again. I need them $7,000 or you can kick rocks. The hunger in me to be who I am and where I am and to embrace that would not have come if it wasn't for the thorn that God put in my flesh. And the Apostle Paul, right? He asked
Yes.
3 times, take it away. We all don't, no, nobody wants to go through pain. Nobody,
Right.
we want the clear road, the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road, Toto and the Tin Man. We want that genuinely. But man, when you're hungry, when you look at ball players who are in the hood and they put a picture of their mom or their grandma on their locker, and that's what drives them, that's the fuel to make them go hard and never give up. So it's starting with your why. It's understanding what were you born to do? What's your why? And that hunger really pulls out. And I'm talking about literal hunger, where I
Yeah.
knew what it's like to take ramen noodles and mix different ramen noodles together to get different tastes. I know what it's like to go into Bishop Johnson and Ruth Johnson and Greg's cabinet and just take a couple canned goods because I didn't eat that day. I
Mhm.
knew what it was like to be hungry. So when I talk today from students who come to me with excuses, you don't understand my story.
Mm.
Let me tell you something, young buck. Not only do I understand it, I lived it.
Right.
And that's why I am here today. And that's why I refuse, as your mentor and coach and leader, to let you quit. I've tasted it. I embraced it, and it is one of the real reasons why I didn't have losses. I had lessons that I learned that made me successful today. If you want that life, you've got to be hungry after something, and then when you become hungry, you've got to do and live what my new quote is from Winston Churchill. Here it is: Success is not final. What do you do? You made the honor roll. What's next? Or that seasoned person who said, well, you know what? Then 20 years ago, I used to be this. And back in
Yeah.
the day, I think we all have a person who they never talk about what they're doing today, Jeremy. It's
Mm.
always, man, I used to have a six pack. Man, I used to be. And they're full of arthritis. They're overweight and obese now. They have no tact because why? They refuse to stay hungry. Winston Churchill says success is not final. It also says failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And that's what I live my life by. And that's a gut check every day when I reach success. It's what are you going to stay hungry for? What's the next meal? Life is a buffet. You go to that line. And while some things taste good, always commit to getting up and going through that line and staying hungry to reach the best version that the world needs
Yeah.
of you. And most times it's not version one, it's version 99.9.
Yes, yes. Oh man, that's good. How do you how do you define success and how does it relate to purpose? Because, at times people they're successful from one avenue and then you think to yourself, boy, you would really be like maybe that's your calling, but maybe you're not walking in it. So from your vantage point, what does success look like to you?
Yeah, for me, and we talk about being leaders and transformation, I believe that before I was a leader, and any leader is a true leader, not
Mm.
just one on your business card, but a true one. Success is about growing yourself. So to me, it's personally the in reach. We want to, always worry about what people see, but deep down inside of us, again, I'm 35 years in software testing. My job is to not only test and make sure that your phone or your app or your device works the right way. It's also to find out, are there any bugs and issues in that app? And we all know we do have them, right? When was the last time, question to you, listener, that you got that download from your iPhone or your Android saying, hey, upgrade needed? True success to me for the wannabe leader is growing yourself. But when you become a leader, when you have success under yourself, when you know that you're going to be a speaker and you're committed to becoming the best version of a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer that you want to be, then success is all about growing others.
Hmm.
And that's the true pivot of true leadership and what separates this leadership from transformation. It's all about taking your purpose, aligning your purpose. And I saw this story on 60 Minutes years ago. A lady was a flight attendant. This is years ago. And she said that every time, you get on the plane and they're giving you those instructions in case of emergency, the thing's going to drop down and blah, 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 blah. And she said every time it would get to, and in case of emergency, put your children under the seat. And she said that would always bother her, like, something's wrong with that. Well, guess what? She was part of a plane that crashed, and the only people that survived were a few adults. Every child on the plane died. And her purpose was not to be a flight attendant. Guess what she did? She took that pain. Number one, surviving a plane crash, and you're one of a few to walk through that. But her purpose through that pain and through that instance that she had those little indicators saying something's wrong, she then went on to become an advocate to change the laws on the flights to not put children on the floor under the seats. Who wants to go through that to really find your purpose? And so while she went through all the training to become a flight attendant, she's traveling all the world. Her true purpose came through a tragedy. And
Wow.
then she lived out. And imagine, Jeremy, how many lives she saved through that tragedy and through that pain. And to her welcome, that my true purpose was to get the FAA to change this so that while I'm dead and gone, lives can be saved. And that's the true meaning of aligning your success to your ultimate purpose.
Wow. We're going to pause right here for a quick commercial. We'll be right back. I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. A quick pause because this might be exactly what you need to hear. Most CEOs don't have a revenue problem. They have a communication problem. You're a leader and you're carrying the vision, making high stakes decisions and managing growth, but you know that you're still leaving on the money on the table because your message is not landing to investors, to partners, or even decision makers. What I do is I help CEOs communicate with clarity and authority to scale their businesses and to position themselves to win big opportunities, such as government contracts. We know that government contracts is one of the largest, most overlooked growth opportunities available. If you're ready to stop grinding and start scaling, let's talk. You can reach me at jeremy@jeremysanford.com via email, or you can find me on my website, jeremysanford.com. Now, let's get back to the podcast. Welcome back. We're so glad that you have joined us. We hope that you're enjoying this conversation. This is phenomenal. So, Demetrius, tell us this. Many people, they hear your story and they think, wow, he probably never dealt with certain struggles up to this point. Maybe he has overcome struggles, or maybe he doesn't have fear anymore. But just tell us directly, are there things that you still maybe struggle with, whether it's fear, doubt, or overcoming certain inner voices? And if a person is dealing with that right now, what are some things that they could use to overcome that obstacle?
Yes, indeed. I mean, the transparency of my life is that there's a lot of failures there. And the type of leader that I am, and to be able to be uh, transformational in individuals' lives, we have to be transparent. Two T's, right? Transformation comes through transparency. Who wants to read a book in chapters 1 through 20? It's all about I was a millionaire. I never struggled. I did this. Pretty boring read, right? We want to hear about I was, part of I was, molested, unfortunately, by an adult, or I was fired unjustly, and that's what drove my fire. For me, one of the biggest Achilles heels for me has been balancing success with self-care.
Okay.
Balancing that success, man. Everybody wants to be successful, but guess what? There's some weight that comes with success. A lot of
Mhm.
people that get to where I am now, I want to own a nonprofit. I say, really? Come and talk to me and Vanessa. Let's talk about the startup, right? We did $10,000 worth of work and only made 250. Oh, yeah, that's what you don't see behind the scenes. You see the 15-year steps of success 5K, bringing in $130,000, us profiting 101,000 and 400xing my business. But what I didn't show you in year 10, we had a net loss. Year one, net loss. Year two, net loss. Year three, almost aborted the vision and gave up. Year four, building my team, going underground and building the things we needed. And then that success came through. My biggest struggle is that the self-care that comes with success. It is me being a Swiss Army knife. And that's been my biggest thing, trying to save everybody and not giving the proper care and concern to my own personal self to show up better and to be better for the ones I say I love. My mentor looked me in the face one day and said, Demetrius, because I say, I'm grinding, man. I'm trying to save my kids. When I'm running with Brown Boys Read, helping boys read through running, and we're doing this. He looked at me and said, every day you show up, not yourself, you're not helping those boys. You're hurting those boys.
Mm.
Wow. Shut me down. It's all about leading and having the joy and the passion. It's just work if you're not doing it with your heart and your love. And I know a lot of millionaires that have cars, Lamborghinis, and big houses who are miserable. That's not the true leader that I feel we need to build today. And so I went through all of this, sleepless nights, not showing up good, functional depression, Jeremy, functional
Mhm.
depression, fake
Mhm.
smiling and going home and staring at the screen of the computer in a dark room that nobody knows. So my biggest struggle was balancing success with self-care. And I implemented these things. Self-care Saturdays. I don't work on Saturdays. It better be an emergency for you to disrupt my time. Not only self-care Saturdays, I'm greedy, Jeremy. I want
Mhm.
self-care Sundays too.
Yeah, I know
I
that's right.
implement it too because people will wear you out, call you
Hmm.
for this, call you for that. And then here's the myth. We think busyness equivocates to success. Let me talk to your leaders real quick and your listeners. Who cares about your 10 business cards and your 10 businesses when it is going to cut a little bit when all of them are mediocre? You're not called to be mediocre. You're not called to have and chase Facebook likes and Instagram likes and all that stuff. Here's my commitment to you, and here's my challenge for you. How good are you doing it, doing the one thing that God called you to do? And can you show up and do that well? Sometimes we stretch ourselves thin. In this season of my life, it is minimize to maximize and thrive. I am trimming the fat. I'm getting rid of and burying busy Demetrius. And I am working on creating a balanced lifestyle. I got into bed all 5 days this week at 9:30 p.m. That's a
All
miracle for
right.
me. When I can't go to bed at midnight, I'm up at the gym at 5, Jeremy, and wondering why at 10 o'clock I'm not my best. You've got to pour into yourself, leader, future leader, because you can't pour from an empty vessel.
That's
And
right.
too many years, my level of impact has gone through because I did not give myself what I gave to so many people. So I don't want to be a Swiss Army knife anymore. This is what I'm going to be. I'm a darn good butter knife. And people laugh. Butter knives don't cut tomahawk steak. I say, nope, but guess what? I'm pretty good on a peanut butter sandwich and jelly. If you ever need something in that aisle, call me. I'm your guy. No
There
more
you
Swiss
go.
Army knife. I'm gonna do one thing great and get a well done from God, living out my ultimate purpose.
You preaching. I mean that's good stuff. That's one of the reasons that I created Mastering Success is because I think so many times we're spread out with 100 different things. We're a jack of all trades, master of none of
Nothing.
those things. And that's
Mm,
what I'm trying to do is minimize what I'm focusing on,
mhm.
minimize what I'm mastering. For
Yes.
example. Even when it comes to social media, we have TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. We have all these
Mm.
different things, but we haven't mastered how to get the word out on any of them. So what
That's
I
it.
did was, and it took me a whole year to do this, is I only focus on LinkedIn at this particular time. If you get something on the other ones, that's fine, whatever. But my main objective is to master one area, and then we'll
Mhm.
figure out the other ones later. So I think that what you said was so important. And then when it comes to self-care, you said something that was so phenomenal. It brought to my mind part of self-care is learning how to say no, is to
Oh,
use the discipline of saying no. So many times as leaders, we take on everything because people know that we're going to accomplish it, even
that's
if we
right.
have a million things on our plate.
Yes,
And so learning how to say no is also an area of self-care.
that's it. And your phone. I mean, it took me 2 years to learn no, and my wife would always she knows me. She said, "I listen to you on the phone. I listen to you tell people call me anytime." And guess what? When the phone rings at midnight, and I questioned it, she said, "You opened that door. You
Mhm.
have no boundaries, and it can cost you your marriage." The time with your children, the most important people, because charity begins at home. So learn how to say no. And it took me a couple of years because of my temperament. I love hard. If I say I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be there. You said, Meech, I need you at the 10X. I was there the day before it got in.
Yep.
What can I do to help? And I want to show up for the true people in my life. And I know it hurts. And I'm not saying go out and get rid of your sister or brother that's draining you or whatever. But my wife said this. She said, "You're gonna be dead and gone, and they're going to leave me and your daughter with the bill." I said, wow. She said, "God forbid something happened to you. Your friend's going to show up to your funeral. They're going to say, what happened to me?" Now, mind you, they're the ones that put the strain on me.
hmm
Showing up for them and never showing up for us. Check your phone, listener. Your phone don't lie. Look at all the outgoing calls for a person that's causing you stress. But then turn around and look at all the incoming. I guarantee you, you have more outgoing than incoming. And those are the
hmm
people you got to protect yourself from because they can be leeches and they can steal the very purpose out of you in frustration. You've got to learn to let them go. And Jeremy, you know my example, the space shuttle will never get to its destiny unless the SRBs fall off. The solid rocket boosters helps get the space shuttle off the loft and to a certain altitude. But if they don't release, the
Yes.
space shuttle will never get to its destiny. Listener, I love you too much to let SRB stay in your life and cost you your destiny. Love yourself, look in the mirror every day and say, you deserve better. I do that every day, and I walk out and I have no apologies about anything or anyone that's causing me unnecessary stress. And I don't own a dissertation when I say no. Here's my answer. Why don't you do that anymore? Because I don't. Next question and move on. I'm
Yeah.
focused, and focus brings
Yes.
clarity.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm
sir.
proud of you too
Well,
for doing that, man. LinkedIn.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah, exactly. So we'll wrap with this question. Most of our listeners are going to be highly successful people and those that are trying to get to a level of success. Based off of your experience, how will a person know, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm in my purpose. So how would they know? And when did you identify, okay, this is the path that God has for me and I'm gonna
Mhm.
stick to it?
Yeah, how do you know? Again, there's a book by Simon Sinek that says start with why.
hmm
Start with why. He gives those four quadrants, right? The urgent and necessary. Great book if you're looking to really find out. I might do this, I might do that. It really quiets the noise in your life and really says whether you're building a board or a team. Start with why are you here? Why do you want to be an accountant? A lot of times with my mentorship in college, our kids are in college and their why is because my auntie told me I had to, or mom wants me to keep the tradition of being a doctor because all the shorts are doctors. And guess what? That kid graduates and then becomes a dancer, a ballroom dancer, and mom and dad are mad. Understand your why. And it feels like this when it doesn't feel like work, when it feels natural, when you feel like it's in your element. And here's the big one: when money doesn't matter, that you would get up and volunteer and do it for free, that's when you know you're ultimately in your purpose and your mission. And that's for me. Running in a suit every year, Jeremy, I say, I'm done. Me and my wife, we tired. This didn't go right. And guess what? A month later, we write back, okay, for the next year race. Because it's in our heart to be
Right.
philanthropic. It's in our DNA. It's in our heart to help people, and that's what we love, and you can't run from that. And so we embrace it no matter the pitfalls, no matter the obstacles, no matter the grants we didn't get. We find a way to stay on that horse because the bull has a job to buck, and I got a job to ride. Who's going to do their job the best? I'm going to ride myself to destiny no matter what comes and what obstacles go through.
Powerful, powerful. Well, we appreciate you joining us. Where can people connect with you to learn more about what you do and just to, stay in touch with you?
Man, for me, Mr. Don't Fall Short, your new brother, your big cousin is here. Thank you again. You're stuck with me now, and there's nothing you can do about it. I love and want to stay connected to you. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Period Don't Fall Short. That's MR period Don't Fall Short. You can also find us on Facebook, my full name, Demetrius Short. And you can follow us on and send us an email at don'tfallshortllc@gmail.com. And a good old-fashioned phone call, 615-997-6841. We want to hear from you. We want to be connected from you because we want to help you create a pathway to success in whatever you're big enough to dream you can do.
Thank you so much to all of our Mastering Success podcast listeners. We'll see you in the next one. We hope that you enjoyed. You all have a fantastic day.